The rhythmic thud of rotor blades was John Henderson's constant companion, a haunting, percussive heartbeat over the desolate landscape of the Republic of Kashira. A seasoned UN relief pilot, John was renowned for his nerves of steel and an uncanny ability to navigate the most hostile environments. He'd seen the worst humanity had to offer, but the sight below him was a fresh wound. What was once a vibrant town was now a ghost of its former self, a ruin of shattered homes and choked streets, scars from a brutal civil conflict that had raged for years. A sudden, jarring explosion rocked the helicopter. A missile, launched from a hidden position, detonated just below his craft, sending a violent shockwave through the air. The chopper spiraled out of control. Instinct took over. John fought the shuddering controls with practiced precision, but the damage was too severe. He was forced to make a hard landing in the very belly of the chaos he had come to escape. The helicopter slammed into a dilapidated square, a cloud of dust and debris erupting around him, temporarily obscuring his vision. He emerged from the mangled cockpit, his head throbbing. His gaze swept over the grim ruins, a silent testament to the ferocity of the conflict. And then he saw her, alone, a girl no older than 8, her clothes caked in filth and dust, her small frame dwarfed by the surrounding wreckage. She stood there, not with fear, but with a quiet, unsettling stoicism. Her eyes, deep and knowing, held a wisdom that belied her tender age. Her name, he would later learn, was Amara. Clutched in her hand was a small, grimy doll, her only possession. In that moment, amidst the devastation, John saw a flicker of defiance, a testament to the unyielding human spirit. He was a man who had dedicated his life to helping others, but this was different. This was a call to action, far deeper than any mission brief. He felt a profound connection to this child, an echo of the life he could have given his own family, had the war not taken them from him. With a gentleness that betrayed his hardened exterior, John approached her, kneeling to her level. "My name is John," he said, his voice calm. He showed her the U.N. insignia on his uniform. "I'm here to help." Amra's gaze was steady. She simply nodded, released her doll, and extended a small, dirty hand to him. Her trust was as immense as the sorrow etched on her face. John Henderson's home in rural Virginia was a world away from the dust and destruction of Kashira. The adoption process was a labyrinth of paperwork and interviews, but John persevered, his resolve unshakable. He wasn't just bringing Amara to a new home, he was introducing her to a new world. Amara, a quick and observant student, absorbed everything with wide-eyed wonder. There were moments of culture shock and silent battles with the ghosts of her past, which manifested in midnight terrors. But through it all, the bond between John and Amara grew stronger. He patiently taught her to read and write, introducing her to the complexities of the English language. He showed her the joy of catching fireflies on a warm summer night and the simple pleasure of tending a vegetable garden. Their shared laughter became a soundtrack to their new life. What surprised John most was Amra's extraordinary mind. She was brilliant, and her fascination with all things mechanical was a revelation. She spent hours tinkering with the old tractor in their barn, dissecting and reassembling its engine with a preternatural understanding. She built intricate models from spare parts and devoured books on engineering. She had a knack for seeing the logical connections that others missed, a testament to the same quiet determination that had kept her alive in Kashira. John, a man of action, was a quiet observer of this burgeoning talent. He bought her books and tools, even arranging for her to apprentice with a local mechanic who marveled at her innate skill. The workshop became their sanctuary, a place where their unique bond was cemented by shared projects and triumphs. 20 years passed. The little girl from the ruins was now a formidable woman, a brilliant aerospace engineer working for a leading American tech company. Her days were filled with complex schematics and the hum of machinery, but her nights were for her father. John, now retired, had always been a beacon of strength, but a sudden, rare illness had laid him low. The vibrant man who once flew helicopters over war zones now lay in a hospital bed, his energy ebbing with each passing day. The local doctors were stumped, but an international medical consortium offered a glimmer of hope, an experimental procedure that could save his life. The catch: it required a unique and extremely rare mineral called corium, found only in the mountainous regions of Kashira. Obtaining it was nearly impossible. The mines were now under the iron fist of a ruthless warlord, General Kellen, a man who saw no value in human life and controlled the flow of every resource in the region. The news hit Amara like a physical blow. The man who had saved her, her rock and her lifeline, was on the verge of death, and she, the person whose life he had given new meaning, was his only hope. She looked at John, his once sparkling eyes now clouded with pain, and she knew what she had to do. With a cold resolve that mirrored her father's from years before, Amara decided to return to her homeland. Her decision was met with protest from John, but her mind was made up. "You gave me a chance at a future," she told him, her voice firm. "Now it's my turn to fight for yours." The Republic of Kashira was a jarring mix of memory and strangeness for Amara. The dust, the smells, the subtle sounds of her childhood were all there, but the landscape was harsher, the people more weary. Navigating the country was a treacherous dance of navigating checkpoints, bribing officials, and avoiding the local militias. Her brilliant mind, accustomed to the logic of engineering, was now forced to adapt to the unpredictable chaos of a failed state. Her journey led her to General Callan's heavily guarded compound. He was a menacing figure, a man with a chilling laugh and eyes that held a profound emptiness. He listened to her plea for a small amount of corium with a sneer. "The mineral is not for sale," he barked, his voice like gravel. "It is the source of my power." But as his eyes roamed over her, he noticed the small, delicate tools of her trade she carried. He laughed, a deep, contemptuous sound. "You're an engineer, a little woman with a toolbox. What could you possibly do for me?" Then he revealed his own problem. A massive, aging military transport plane, his prized possession, was grounded. Its complex engine, a relic of a bygone era, was a mystery no one had been able to solve. Amara saw her chance. "I'll fix your plane," she said, her voice steady. "And in return, you give me the corium." Kellen's eyes narrowed, intrigued by her audacity. He agreed, with one condition: if she failed, she would never leave his compound. Amara was given access to the plane under heavy guard. The challenge was monumental. The plane was a mess of damaged parts and shoddy repairs, but she worked with a single-minded focus, the image of her father's face her only motivation. As she toiled, she also planned. She knew she couldn't just take the corium. She had to outsmart the general. She noticed the massive hydraulic system of the transport plane. Using her deep understanding of fluid dynamics and pressure systems, she formulated a daring plan. On the third day, as she neared the completion of her repairs, she engineered a deliberate, controlled malfunction in the plane's main hydraulic line. The resulting explosion of compressed air and oil was loud and chaotic, drawing the attention of every guard. In the ensuing confusion, as they rushed to secure the area, Amara used her tools to bypass the lock on the corium storage unit, a small, unassuming shed near the plane. Her heart pounded in her chest as she quickly scooped a small amount of the shimmering mineral into a vial she had brought. The whole operation took less than 60 seconds. When the guards returned, she was calmly standing beside the repaired engine, a placid look on her face. The journey back was a blur of exhaustion and adrenaline. Amara arrived at the hospital in Virginia, the vial of corium clutched in her hand. The medical team was waiting. They worked quickly, integrating the rare component into John's treatment. The next few hours were a haze of nervous anticipation, and then, against all odds, John's condition began to stabilize. The man who had once saved a girl from a war-torn land was now saved by that same girl, now a strong, brilliant woman. Their extraordinary journey had come full circle. Amara had not just repaid a debt, she had fulfilled a promise forged in the dust of a distant ruin. In the quiet of John's hospital room, as he slowly regained his strength, he reached out and took her hand. It was a simple gesture, but it held the weight of a lifetime of love and gratitude. He had found a daughter not by blood, but by choice and by shared experience, and in doing so, he had saved himself as well.